Hey there, and welcome back for our next episode of Reactive Dog Chats. Today, we'll be going over a few ways you can reinforce your dog's behavior. Last week, we discussed why reinforcement matters. If you missed that episode, I'll link it here for you. Now, I'm sure some of you have experienced offering your dog a treat and then they spit it out, especially if they're near a trigger. Or maybe they'll only take really high value food like meat and cheese. Well, today we're going to take a look below the surface of just food rewards so that we can affect powerful change in our dog's training. But before we jump in, be sure to hit that subscribe button below and send me a little reinforcement as well. Thank you. First and foremost, you need to make sure that you're using a management plan with your dog. If you are trying to improve your dog's reactivity or aggression and you're only training in the moment of a trigger, you're not going to make progress. For example, if your dog is reactive to people in the home and you're trying to train your dog when a friend comes over, your dog's barking, jumping, having a really hard time, you need a management plan. This way, your dog will be able to handle the situation better, and then you'll be able to utilize reinforcement because your dog will be able to choose behaviors worth rewarding. I promise. Okay, let's get you started with that. Head over to redpointydog.com/dog guide to get my beginner's guide to dog reactivity totally free. This will walk you through what you need to take important and valuable steps in your dog's training. Let's get started with the first category of today, food. Number 1, toss the treat. Tossing the treat allows the dog to chase and hunt for the piece of food. You can toss the treat right on the floor, into a dog bed, on a blanket, or if you're outside, you can try the grass, snow, or leaves. Number 2, stalking the treat. Holding the treat between your thumb and forefinger, let your dog watch you move the treat left and right, and so on. They'll track your hand movements, and then you toss the treat for them to chase and hunt for. Number 3 is a treat scatter. This is such a fun way to reward good behavior. All you have to do is toss a few treats in the grass for your dog to eat. There's added value, not just in the number of treats available to your dog, but also to the decompressing break they get by sniffing for each piece of food. Next up are food toys. One of my favorite ways to reward Monzo and Piper lately has been with a training food toy. I'll link to all of my favorites in the descriptions below. Basically, these toys hold treats in them, and the way you use them will vary based on your dog's interest and where you are. Number 1 is the training dummy. This one zips closed and holds any kind of food inside. We start by letting our dogs eat the food from the pouch when it's just in our hands and work up to them playing fetch with it, tug, or even hunting for it on cue. Number 2 is the Lotus Ball. This is another toy that holds treats, but the main difference is that your dog can take apart the toy since it's only held together by Velcro to get the reward all by themselves. I'll toss this to Piper for coming when called, and she'll prance around with it, pull it apart, and shake it madly to get the treats inside. She just loves it. Best of all, she's just working for one treat, but she's doing it in a way that feels really fun to her. Next up, we'll be going over play as a reinforcer. There is so much power in play. If we can find more ways to reinforce our dogs with play, we'll be taking great strides to a more calm and relaxed dog overall. Number 1 is tug. If your dog likes to engage in this type of play, then it can be used as a high value reward. Now, there's a common misconception out there that tug can increase aggression. So here are my thoughts on this. Does your dog resource guard their toys? Or does your dog redirect their aggression onto you when they get really worked up? Well, if you answered no to both of those questions, then you're in the clear to play tug. All games should have rules for safety, like sitting to start the game and drop it on cue. I'll link to a blog in the description below that goes over these steps in more detail. Next up is a flirt pole variation. Have you tried a flirt pole with your dog? If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'll link to our video here for you. Now, a standard flirt pole is not going to be the easiest to work with when you're on the go. Pulling out a long stick and trying to train your dog while you're on a 6-foot leash and walking on the side of the road, not super easy. But you can use a variation of this great toy by using a long bungee toy to engage your dog in chase type play. Again, I'll link to my favorite in the description below for you to take a look at. So what kind of reinforcement does your dog like the most? Your action item for the week is going to be to experiment with new ways and new types of rewards for your dog. Try a few of the types that we discussed today and report back what you've learned. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Reactive Dog Chats. Tell your dogs I said hi, give them a treat from me, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.
Let's find it. Wow! Oh, get it, Piper. Get it. Oh, nice job. Right here.